place was just empty. Not dead. It didn't feel dead, just empty. Except for this massive tree before us. I sat down, figuring, if that's the only thing to look at here, I might as well take it up on its offer. Anna sat down nearby and rubbed her shoulder. She had actually performed a miracle by landing the ship without killing us all. The ship was old to begin with, and we'd been taken for granted just how lucky we were for far too long already. When suddenly we had system failures across the board, I thought we were done for, but she got us down in one piece. I doubt any of us could have done that, but for her, it's just another day and a couple of sore muscles. Nash walked out ahead of us and sat down on a tiny hill between us and the tree. He had stripped down to his underwear, but left his helmet on for some reason. He sees things differently than others. I've never met a navigator who could look at three-dimensional space and see so much simple beauty in its structures. Then there's Finchley, who somehow has gotten all the way to the tree and is now lying against it, face up or face down, I can't tell. Probably face down, the pervert. Our sister ship is somewhere out there, and if anyone can contact Cloudy and Annie and the rest of our gang, it's Fiercely. He's as resourceful as he is weird. Good grief, that tree is enormous. For some reason, I'm reminded of running through the woods around my aunt and uncle's farm with my cousin Donnie. I thought he was the coolest. He was a few years older than me and dealt with more shit than anyone should be forced to handle. But regardless, whenever we got together, which was not very often, he would always make it fun. It would always be an adventure. Our favorite thing was to search the thick woods around our aunt and uncle's farm for old tree houses. Geez, how many generations of kids had built that many tree houses? We never found the same one twice. And most of the ones we did find were so damaged by time that even our child brains recognized the danger in climbing in them. But sometimes we would come across one that still had one more adventure in it. Donnie was like a tall, skinny, blonde monkey zipping up the tree. I would hear him stomping around the mossy wooden floor above me, testing it for relative safety, while I tried to find my own slower, surer way up the tree. Then he would pop his head out, shout, "All clear," and point out the best way for me to maneuver my chubby little body up into our new fortress. Once we were both inside, it became a safe haven from the world outside, where anything was possible and everything was cool. But eventually, after a couple hours of horsing around in that ancient tiny kingdom, the floor would lurch and shift, giving us a tiny shake back into reality. We would freeze right wherever we were and hope that it was just the wind pushing the tree itself around a little. But we always knew we had used up the last bit of magic that this tree house had to offer, and it was time to go. We would crouch at the hatch in the floor and look for the fastest way down before the treehouse decided for us. And I mean, the answer to that is pretty simple. No matter how high up we were, Donnie would always find a spot, point to it and say, "There," and poof, like magic. He was down there, having jumped like a lightning bolt, and now stood there on the ground with a huge smile, waiting for me to do the same. I don't think I was a particularly brave child. Donnie would simply say, "It's all right," and I wouldn't think twice about it. In the blink of an eye, I would be crashing into his bony chest, crushing him into the leaves and branches that were behind him. On the rare occasion we had to go home, not because the treehouse fell, but because it was getting late, we would make a mental note of its location and try to find it again next time. But this never happened. We always just assumed some other adventurers had found it and used it up like we did to so many other tree houses. So we simply searched deeper into the forest and always finding another one. I'm sure there's some profound philosophical lesson in there, but I'm too lazy to dig it out right now. All I know is this enormous monster of a tree in front of us is nothing like the trees from my childhood. And I'm very much doubting we're going to find a suitable treehouse in it. But I am quite thankful that I'm here with friends. Friends with whom I have a treehouse of our own somewhere. Because this is something different.